assembly rooms. We're up in the Fringe for the whole 3 weeks. No show Monday.
I thought the Fringe was 4 weeks.
Ooh. It's 4 weekends.
Oh, okay, right. All right.
4 weekends, 3 weeks. Yeah.
And you've been up there in the past, though, gigging and stuff.
I have. Yeah. The very first, I went with a thing called the Live Essex Show, which was like 5 of us doing an hour and a half. Like a bit at a time, and for a week in a squash court.
Nice. It's the obvious venue for comedy.
We really didn't think the whole venue thing through.
Sure.
And you don't smile. I'm not lying. It was a squash court.
Wow.
With rake seats in it, and then they put some cloth in so it doesn't sound like, you know.
That's because that's one of the great things about Edinburgh is the fact that every kind of little space is used up. Every little bakery, every cupboard is
single
used up
available for performing space. And the most distracting thing when you're doing stand-up and when your shoe jars on the floor and makes that noise like in squash.
And I mean, that's a couple of big fellas as well. So
I know, yeah, that wouldn't have done well. So that was that. And then I went back, I thought, well, that's not how you do it. And so I didn't go for a few years. I just kept being dissatisfied by the experience.
So what's drawn you back, though, this time?
I was quitting Six, really.
Right.
It was knowing that I kind of had enough of getting up at 4 a.m. to play pop records. I thought, let's do something different, and let's actually try and stretch myself. And because the stand-up, I never wrote any of it down, and so obviously after 5 years, I thought I could go back to stand-up. No, I can't remember a word of it. So it's like, and I never ever wrote it down and went, and then the spider is under a big glass, and because that's not how it works.
That sounds like a hell of a routine.
It was. It stood me in good stead for 5 years, dear boy. It was absolutely.
And surely there's some DVDs though that you could perhaps, of your stand-up show that you could just.
Well, again, I was the last generation because I'm a man with his eye on technology, and when I did my live show and it was filmed, and I said, I've had this great idea for the DVD extras. My mum will do a commentary, and we are talking about 6 years ago. My mum will do a commentary, and I had all these great ideas, and then because with the audio tracks, there's about 5 audio tracks, so we can get these different commentaries on, and then what we'll do is we'll show bits of the gig that we cut out, and this, that, and the other, and they nodded quietly, and it just never came out on DVD. Oh. And it never has. So, tell me about it.
Have you got a copy of it on VHS or something?
I have indeed.
Good.
It's on eBay for about 10 bob if you search. It's a bargain. It's the thing is one of those. They made exactly the right amount of copies. They all sold, and they never made any more. They thought, that's it.
That's frustrating.
There's no more demand for them. And we made exactly. It was like the last bowl of porridge in Goldilocks' house.
While you were going through the racks at HMV to see how the copies were selling, I trust you've been keeping abreast of music. At all times.
I do what I can.
Even while you've been away from Six, you've not been getting the free stuff.
I'm going to be honest, I've been listening to Test Match Special and Radio 4.
But you've brought in a tune that you have enjoyed or discovered or found?
I have. One of the things that I got quite into as I was leaving
Six Music.
That's the fella, that's what it's called. As I was on my way out the door like a burglar with my, piles of unburned CDs. I thought that I loved the Gogol Bordello, and I got quite into the whole Balkan thing. And I started any album with Gypsy in the title, apart from the soundtrack to the film Gypsy, which isn't very good at all. I started buying all these albums, and I picked this track here. It's called Turna Chilipe, and it's by Taraf de Hadouks.
Oh, this one's been played to death.
I know. I know. This is the Forget cassettes. In 6 months, you lot will be playing it. And you're playing this for a couple of reasons. Because it's WOMAD this weekend, and I thought it'd be nice if we had some global content. And just because this record, I can't quite believe how fast it starts fast and gets faster. They are the Motorhead of cheeky Balkan gypsy music. Cheeky Balkan gypsy music.
Let's hear it, Phil.
Have
man alive.
Have that. It's the Hungarian wedding, and now the father of the bride.
That's fantastic. I'd love to see you dancing to that, Phil.
Oh, honestly, see, it's odd that all this music now that I've taken to, I can't dance to because of my massive frame.
Is the reason that music is like that, do you think, because the Balkan's very cold? It just
it's good for the circulation.
I mean, there's bound to be some correlation between the fact that a lot of Jamaican West Indian music is very laid back and chilled out.
Yeah, I think climate. You talking now about the correlation between climate and pace of music.
Is that good or bad?
Speed garage, of course, as we all know from Finland.
Really? Interesting. Absolutely, yeah. You're nothing if not informed. So just remind us again, you'll be up in Edinburgh and you'll be doing the show with me. And what have you got anything planned for the show?
I've some guests. Mr. Stuart Lee has agreed to come on for a show. Unlike yourself, and I admire the big social setup you have here, I'm something of a misanthrope, not really a people person. I'll be sitting there with a pile of CDs, and occasionally people I know that will come in. I'll growl at them for 2 hours and play their records and my records, and I dare say there'll be emails. I loosely thought there might be a theme for each show for the 4 weeks, but that's just too much like hard work.
Sure. But it's still going to be the same slot, 3 to 5, Sunday afternoons.
That's it. I'm just keeping your seat warm, my friend.
I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. It's a real thrill to have you standing in, and I feel honoured, and I also feel honoured that you've come.
It's a delight to be back, an absolute delight to have an excuse to come back here and, frankly, sully the airwaves.
And also, I should just point out, you'll probably not be able to plug your Edinburgh show once you're actually back on air, so maybe you should just do it one more time.
It's called Waiting for Alice. It's at the Assembly Rooms, 6:15 every night except Mondays, all the way through the festival. Someone already has said they're too expensive.
15 quid a ticket, apparently, Phil.
Oh, come on. What's that?
Yeah, it's nothing these days.
You know, these young kids nowadays spending it on crack.
I know. Also, and someone's mentioned here, £12 to hear me read Dickens. It's a bit excessive. And get him to explain that. I think someone's trying to text here, but they got so angry they've run out of letters. I think it's excessive as well, which is why I'm giving all the money away for the Dickens show to Billy Bragg's Jail Guitar Doors scheme. So the money for the Dickens show will be buying guitars for prisons in Scotland.
Ooh, eat them text words.
So if I might use a radio term, my friend, bite me.
And on that note, we say thank you very much indeed to Phil Jupitus. And
salut, my friends. Thank you for having me. We'll be here next week. And thanks for having me, Steve. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you
very much, mate.
It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music, and it's time for Sammy's musical choice this week. Sammy, what have you got for us? Something that you've enjoyed in the past 7 months?
It is, yes, and I felt really guilty about choosing it, and I've been toing and froing. I've been towing apparently all week, toing and froing all week about what to choose, but I am going to settle on this one. Matthew, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be tonight. This band's real full title should be Maximo Gomez Park, because that's who they're named after. That's where the revolutionaries met in, I believe, Cuba. And the person who produced their last album also produced Gomez's last album. This is a lot of Gomez vibe here, and that was Gil Norton. This is Our Velocity by Maximo Park.
Come on, Jude, do not let the ball drop now. So late in the day. You've done so well for so long. 7 weeks of excellent work, and you almost dropped the ball. 7 weeks. It feels like 7 weeks, Jude. I'm afraid to say it's passed that quickly. Wow, I was slick there, wasn't I? That's what made me the lady charmer that I am. Thank you very much indeed for Maximo Park, Sammy. We've enjoyed that tune enormously. Why didn't we play that earlier in the year? I don't know.
Well, they're local, so I thought I'd pick it anyway. I don't know why I didn't pick it. I may hold that against you as well. It's on the list now, Steve, it is.
Thank you.
I'm not going to lie to you.
All right, thanks very much indeed. Guys, just want to get a sense of what you people are going to be doing while we go away on our little hiatus. Rufus, I imagine you've got something super posh lined up.
I thought you might go for me, Steve. I am thinking of going to Umbria.
To Umbria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tuscany, and eating coarse pate with forelock tugging, horny-handed sons of the soil.
These are 3 bands that will be playing when we come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obscure music festival. Yeah. And of course, listening to music and meeting young people.
Absolutely, I would hope so. And Dan, I imagine you've got something exciting lined up.
Well, possibly. When you're doing your admin in August, are you going away to do your admin?
I could probably go away for some time, yeah.
Because as your flatmate, if you were away, I will probably be going onto the streets and trying to convince girls that it's my flat.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
And so you'll be welcoming them in. You won't just be pointing to it. Well, I live up there.
I was just going to point to it, actually. But yeah, I could invite them in as well. Why not?
Why not?
Is that against the law?
I
Possibly.
don't think so. There's a couple of questions I'd have to ask, but no.
That's of course when I'm dodging the footsteps of the big people who are trying to stand on me. I'm so very, very small.
It's like you live in a kind of perpetual land of the giants, don't you?
Yeah.
It seems perverse that you and I should be friends.
Yeah, it is perverse. But that's why I go around with a stick with a pointy end to defend myself.
And Harry, you've got something hot lined up at the bank.
Well, that's the thing, the Steve Show ends for 4 weeks, but banking doesn't stop for anyone, Steve. I'll be going back to my friends, the Numbers, hanging out with them. I feel like I've not really been giving them 100% attention. So, back with the gang.
Very, very good. And Sammy, I imagine you've got something exotic up north. I mean, who knows what could happen? There could be tents involved, crazy horses, pyjamas.
It's quite likely. I'm trying to head up to the Edinburgh Festival at some point. If anyone would like to give me their floor, that would be great, because at the minute it looks like I'm sleeping in my smart car, which is going to be both uncomfortable but also a good start to tell when I come back.
Yes, absolutely. And you're being an actress yourself. Perhaps get a little one-woman show going on like that.
Well, you never know. Or it will just be me in a doorway trying to get to sleep and someone throwing money at me. That'll be my one-woman show.
I look forward to that enormously. All right, well, let's squeeze in some Ryan. Are we going to go with Built to Spill?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think we should just, because we can fill it now.
I cannot believe that she is making editorial decisions behind my back. Ryan Adams, one of my favourite artists. I'm all set to play. Ryan Adams, and suddenly you decide to play. Well, I don't even know anymore. Let's play some Ryan. Let's play Ryan, because we've skipped this tune a few times, and I would like to play it now. I think it's good. And it's all right. We can just chat right at the tail end. We'll just try at the tail. Don't worry. I've got this. I'm already planning it in advance. This could have been such a great show. Play it. The Sun Always Sets from Ryan Adams' recent album Easy Tiger, and I play that for the beautiful little magical elf who is doing all the prep for the celebratory barbecue that we'll be attending shortly. Oh yes, I've spent upwards of £25. I know. Exciting, eh? I was a bit lucky because I did a scratch card earlier in the week, so that bankrolled it. So yes, that's pretty much it for us. We will be back, as we say, in 4 weeks' time, 1st of September. We will have a session from one of my favourite artists, Amy Mann. Yes, round of applause for Amy. She will be playing a brand new tune as well, which I'm hoping would not have been heard anywhere else. And I don't want any of you bootleggers putting that straight on the web afterwards. All right, that is against the law. I'm going to talk all over it if I think any of that's going on. And yes, all the crew. Thanks as always, obviously to Jude, also to Harry and to Dan and to Super Posh Rufus, and of course to Sammy and everyone else who's worked on there. Charlotte there. We've had so many people who've contributed to the show. But don't worry, it's not the end. We'll be back. There's only one way to kickstart the Steve Show after its 4-week hiatus, and that's to hear about half of Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow. We think we had some technical blunders this end, which mean you may not have heard the beginning of it. We were enjoying it here in the studio. You may have heard some kind of emergency BBC DAT. I don't know what that would have been. Probably Terry Wogan or someone just calming everyone down. Rather, as I imagine there would be if there was any kind of nuclear disaster, I imagine it would be perhaps Wogan, or perhaps more recently Chris Evans, and he'd just be he'd be having a sort of charming chat with maybe a young child who's perhaps just, been on a long car journey or has done something cute, and that would just relax everyone as the mushroom clouds were descending. So I don't know what you heard. Maybe you'd like to text in 64046 and tell us what the emergency 6 music is. Harry, you're with me. Thanks for coming back. What would you imagine the 6 music emergency DAT would be? What would it consist of?
I imagine they just held a microphone to Phil Jupitus' chest and recorded his heartbeat.
Yeah, and that's the heartbeat that just pumps with passion for music.
Absolutely.
Particularly world music, reggae and the like.
Bongos.
that alone would be enough to placate the average 6 music listener.
Yeah.
Tiny little Dan is with me.
Hi.
What would you imagine the 6 music emergency DAT was playing just then when we were listening to Rainbow?
I'd like it to be a BBC stalwart, like a Wogan or an Evans or a Sissons, maybe.
Sure.
But actually panicking.
Right.
Something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
There's a BBC. It's an emergency.
Yeah.
Help us.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah. And just swearing like a maniac as well.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
In which case, let's get it on. That sounds amazing.
64046 Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Just tell us what you heard, because I'm intrigued to know. I'm imagining maybe it's just some classic indie rock, which is exactly the kind of sound you'll be hearing in that Steve Show. We've been away, as I say, for 4 weeks, and dear old music-loving Phil Jupitus has been standing in, and I suspect he did a sterling job.
He did.
Did he? Did you listen?
I listened to a few of them, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
honestly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm sure they were good shows. I don't mean that. I just mean, did you actually bother to listen to 6 Music when you're not on the show?
I listen all the time. Steve.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, blimey. And what about yourself, Dan? I imagine you've been tuning in every day.
Religiously.
Sure.
Yeah. We love the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, it's lovely to have you guys back, and a lot of people are wondering where a couple of the other big hitters are, because let's be honest, recent surveys on the web have said that you are very much the least popular of my sort of lackeys, my sycophants, and yet here you are. You've managed to come in. I see no sign of Rufus. Super Posh Rufus will be back hopefully in the next few shows, but he's off at a wedding. But of course, more worryingly, dear old Sammy. Yeah. She told us she'd set off from up north, wherever it is she lives. And we've seen hide and hair of her